Good morning. Today's devotion is about having faith through the tough stuff. And the psalm for today is Psalm 30, chapter 5. Sobbing can remain through the night, but joy comes in the morning. A lot of us right now are having there's some anxiety, and this time where we can't gather together, and our lives and our freedom seem to feel so restricted. It feels like this is really tough. And then for some perspective, you have a friend or a family member who gets sick, whether it's from COVID or just, regular stuff, and you lose somebody. And in the last couple weeks, I've personally had to say goodbye to a couple of people in my life, one from COVID and one from natural causes. And that loss and that grief is sometimes hard to process through. And even going a step further, there's everyday life stuff that just is hard. Losing a job or working less than we've been working before. The list goes on and on and on. And I think the reason that I feel called to talk about this today is last week I heard a story of a father who had just learned that his child had been being abused. And he said, "Where's God in this? I feel like I've lost my faith. Just give me something to help me see where God is in all of this." And it made me think of Horatio Spafford. And I don't know, excuse me, if many of you know the story of Horatio, but I'm going to share it with you now. So Horatio Spafford had a happy life. He was married with 5 children, and he owned his own business in Chicago in the late 1860s. He was also a man of faith, and he would need every ounce of his faith to get through what was about to happen to him. First, his 4-year-old son died of scarlet fever. Later, the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 destroyed everything in its path. Spafford lost his business and almost everything he owned. Then he sent his wife and 4 daughters on a ship to England. He planned to meet them there later. The ship sank in a storm. Only his wife survived. So if you're keeping track, he lost his son. Now he's lost his 4 daughters. He's lost his business. After the shipwreck, Spafford sailed to England to meet his wife. As Spafford's ship crossed the Atlantic Ocean, the captain pointed out to Spafford where the ship that had carried his family had gone down. It was at that spot where Spafford wrote a hymn of praise to God. What would lead a man to write a hymn of praise to God when such terrible things had happened to him? It was this. Spafford had faith that God was still in control. He believed with all his heart that God still loved him and wanted what was best for him. Spafford knew that his sorrow would end, especially on that day when he would go to heaven and spend eternity with his children. Is there anything you're going through right now that is making you doubt that God loves you? Bad things happen sometimes, and it's difficult to understand that and to understand what God is doing in our lives. And so I would say, talk to someone about it if you're hurting. Pray for understanding and strength to get through the tragedy or the struggles or whatever it is you're facing right now. And most importantly, pray for the faith of Horatio Spafford, who wrote the inspired hymn, "It is well with my soul." When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Blessings on your day.